Want a free PlayStation? Yes, free. Who would have thought in November 2020, when Sony released that PlayStation 5, that we'd be sitting here almost 20 months later with no consoles on shelves and very few available with online retailers? Well, we got our hands on a disc console, but instead of teaching Prez and Teddy how to play NBA 2K, we'd like to send it to a loyal WagerTalk supporter. You can start earning entries now and repeat daily just by going to wt.buzz/PS5 and perform the social media task below to earn entries into our raffle. The contest will end at midnight on July 3rd, and a random winner will be announced on July 4th. Help us reach 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and grow our social media footprint, and you could be the new owner of a PS5.
We are live, and it is Wednesday, June the 15th. WagerTalk Today, live noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, every Monday through Friday right here on WagerTalk TV. And, of course, archived 24/7 for your viewing pleasure on WagerTalk TV right here on YouTube and other streaming devices. Don't forget also about the audio podcast version. Listen to us anytime while you're trotting around town, at the gym, anywhere you'd like. I'm Steve Merrill, filling in for the Prez once again today, and that is my co-host, as always, Teddy Covers. And Teddy, great show today on Wednesday. We're one day away from Game 6 of the NBA Finals between the Celtics and Warriors. We're going to dig into that at the top of the show with Skee Profit, NBA and WNBA expert. Also, we are 0 days away from the start of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Lightning and Avalanche tonight on Wednesday. NHL expert Carmine Bianco is going to come on and talk about that in depth here in a few moments. And we're 1 day away from the U.S. Open, about a half a day away, actually, from tomorrow morning. The U.S. Open golf tournament starts. We've got a golf expert on today, and of course, that is Nick Borman. We're going to break down the U.S. Open in depth. So basketball, hockey, and golf. But, of course, there's a lot of baseball as well, Teddy, going on a daily and nightly basis. Learn anything last night on Tuesday?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we always find something to learn. But last night, I split an MLB. I had an easy winner with the Red Sox run line over the lifeless A's. But the loser was the Tigers-White Sox over. And watching that game, you're like, these are the two most disappointing teams in baseball. Look at every other team with a losing record, they're supposed to be there. All right, literally, go up and down. Baltimore's supposed to be there. You know, the Royals weren't going to be good. It's not like the AL West. I mean, the Angels at least have had a good season prior to their current collapse. You know, Mariners were supposed to be down. A's are supposed to be down. Nationals are supposed to be down. Miami wasn't supposed to be that good. Chicago, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, all where they're supposed to be. And on down the line. Colorado, Arizona, sub-500 teams. Detroit was supposed to be better, and Chicago was supposed to be competing for the division title. And both those two teams stink right now. So I think you make a real argument. These are the two most disappointing teams in baseball. There's got to be a way to make money off fading both of these squads. You know, frustrating last night, Dylan Cease being priced like he's good, and he's no good. The Tigers are just too inept offensively. The funk is too deep. The Javi Baez contract, too ugly. Detroit now has the three lowest players in MLB in WRC+, all playing every day. 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position last night. Maybe with Skubal on the hill, you can make money with Detroit. He's the guy they win for. Everybody else, Tigers are pretty rough. White Sox are pretty rough. And that was a disappointing result for me last night. What about you, Steve? Pick up anything last evening?
Well, yeah, nothing specific yesterday, but I think big picture, like you're talking about in baseball, it's something worth mentioning because we're about 60 games into the season. You know, we're over a third of the way in. So numbers, records, stats are starting to mean something. I mean, this is, you know, more than a full college basketball season. It's almost 3/4 of an NBA or NHL season right now, you know, so we have a lot to work with. And that AL Central is an interesting division because, as you mentioned, Royals' worst record in baseball right now, Detroit not looking much better. The Twins sitting on top. This is a Twins team that a couple weeks ago only played 8 winning teams all season. Of course, when you're in a bad division, you're going to have a lot of bad teams to play. Minnesota's still just 11-13 against above 500 teams. Cleveland just 6-12. The White Sox 13-20. So, you know, I joke about the NL East the last couple of years, even though 2 of the last 3 World Series champs have come from there. The AL Central looks like that division this year with someone who's just going to win by default. And then the reverse of that, of course, is the AL East, the best division in baseball. Orioles were supposed to be the worst team coming in this year, and that was just due to the fact they had to play like 40% of their games against Boston, Tampa, Toronto, New York Yankees. The Orioles, though, 18-24, Teddy, against above 500 teams this year, and just 27-36, yet in last place. So, we talked about some underachievers there. The Orioles have actually overachieved despite being just a 43% win percentage. They played 12 games against the Yankees already this year. So the NL East, the AL East, I think, is a division that's going to continue to beat up on others in non-division games. Maybe something to keep an eye on.
I'll tell you what, I was tempted by Baltimore today at the big plus price in Toronto. Barrios not a starter who I care to lay minus 280 with. And the Orioles obviously coming off another win. I mean, they've been playing great baseball, but the lineup is hitting. They won again last night in the underdog role. If you have a bad team that's knocking off contenders and knocking off winning squads, you can make a whole lot of money with them in a relatively short amount of time. So I did lean Baltimore today, though. It's not a client play, and I haven't bet it yet myself. Just a lean in that regard. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Orioles hang around and get the W again this evening.
Yeah, and just one closing thought on baseball. We're going to get to some hockey and basketball here in a moment, but offensive momentum, we talked about it yesterday with Dave Koch, and you look at the Orioles, as you said, they have put up runs at times this year, 253 in the season. The Detroit Tigers, 168. That's like 85 some runs less. And you look at the Reds, who were 3-19. They're not even the worst team in baseball anymore, right? That's the Royals, as you mentioned. Cincinnati, 273 runs. So these teams have put up some runs, and that's why they've won games at times. And I like to bet on teams that are capable of putting up runs because on any given night they can get a victory. God awful offensive teams, whether it be the NFL, the bottom feeders everywhere in the NFL are usually the worst offensive teams. Baseball, just hard to win. I know they say defense wins championships, right? But offense wins games in the meantime. And I think that's something we'll keep an eye on in baseball. And any other thoughts before we move on to the other sports?
Well, just defense wins championships. It does. In the postseason, defense is paramount. Right. This ain't the postseason.
Offense gets you there, right?
I want a team. Yeah. I want a team that can score runs. I want a team that can hit shots. I want a team that can put touchdowns on the board in general, as opposed to the weaker offensive, stronger defensive squads, which, they fall behind by 3 runs, the game's over, like the Tigers last night.
Yeah, and speaking of football, Teddy had a big game breakdown yesterday on Monday, and I recommend people going back. Teddy, the more I think about that Pittsburgh play, I really like it where you're going with that since they opened with the Bengals. So anybody missed Tuesday's show, yesterday's show on Tuesday, go back and watch the replay here. Teddy had a week 1 free play for you, big game breakdown style, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. But before we do, we're going to mix it up a bit. I said NBA first, but NBA's tomorrow. Let's do hockey first because that's tonight's game. That's the most actionable info. We're going to bring on NHL expert for us, Carmine Bianco, to look at Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight between the 2-time champion Lightning and the Colorado Avalanche. And Carm, we just said defense wins championships. Does one of these teams have a defensive edge?
Yeah, I would think so. And thanks for having me on, guys. I'm looking forward to it. Game 1 tonight. When you're looking at, obviously, the defensive edges, you would have to look at this Tampa Bay Lightning team. This is their 3rd time in the big dance, going for 3 straight cups. And they've got the big man between the pipes, Andrei Vasilevskiy. You look at Vasilevskiy the last couple years in the NHL playoffs, but specifically in the Stanley Cup. 2 years ago, 4-2 over Dallas. Last year, 4-1 over Montreal. His save percentage, 9.33 save percentage, and a 1.90 goals against average in the Stanley Cup Finals. He's facing a different beast now. He's not facing the Montreal Canadiens. He's not facing the Dallas Stars. He's facing the NHL's best team during the regular season, the Colorado Avalanche tonight in Colorado on their home ice, and they have taken care of a lot of teams thus far this season. Steve sweeping both Nashville and the Edmonton Oilers, and 6 games against the St. Louis Blues.
So, I mean, it sounds to me, Carm, like what you're saying is that the Avalanche have kind of had the easier route of these 2 teams, which may leave them fresher here in the finals. We've kind of seen some of that in the NBA finals, where Boston faced a tougher competition to get there. And now the last couple of games, it seems like the Warriors have more energy left than the Celtics do in the tank. Does that play out the same way in the NHL? with Colorado's easier route to get there? Is that going to give them an edge in the latter stages of this series?
Yeah, if nothing else, you have to believe, obviously, Tampa Bay. The Eastern Conference this year put 8 teams in the playoffs, all with 100 points or more. That's never happened. The Eastern Conference was by far the tougher of the two conferences, but no disrespect to the Colorado Avalanche, who are a great team, but they have had the easier route to the Stanley Cup Finals. They played Nashville, a team that backed into the playoffs in the first round, and they swept them. They took on the St. Louis Blues, the only team thus far to even win a game against them. The Blues lost their goaltender a couple games into that series in Binnington, who had been playing well, and Husso didn't do as well. Not saying that series would have changed at all, but it did change the minute they had to go to their backup goalie, and then they took care of the Edmonton Oilers, sweeping them 4 straight. Again, you look at the goalies that they faced along the way, and they faced Riddick and Ingram in the opening round. Then they faced Binnington before he got injured and played extremely well against them with Husso. And then 40-year-old Mike Smith for the Edmonton Oilers in the last round, in which they swept them. Completely different for Tampa. They had to play a very good Toronto Maple Leafs team, one that struggled to get out of the first round for the 18th year in a row, but a very good team with a lot of speed. Campbell there, Bobrovsky, and the Florida Panthers. And then the best goalie in the league, as far as I'm concerned, during the regular season, at the very least this year, in Shesterkin. And they were able to beat him as well, too. But this is a different game. This is a different series, and one that's going to be played on the ice, with Colorado having home ice, and it should be an electric atmosphere tonight with a very good Avalanche team.
Yeah, and of course, Tampa Bay back-to-back champs. A little less rest here, just 3 days off, and the travel factor, whereas Colorado's been off for 8 after sweeping Edmonton. Tampa's actually gone under 5 straight, 8 of their last 9. We talked about defense wins championships, so obviously they've been playing some defense. Give me a key, though, Carmine. We got the more experienced team here as the Dog against who Prez said is the best hockey team he's ever seen in the Colorado Avalanche. You can elaborate on that if you'd like as well. But give me a key for each team for winning this series.
Yeah, and the aforementioned Prez, who's not here today, I will go out and say that he did on the hockey show tell me that Tampa would not beat the Leafs in the first round because Tampa was a tired team. Well, here we are. Tampa's in the Stanley Cup Finals. Prez, if you're watching, and I know you're not, we are here with the Tampa Bay Lightning. But listen, keys to the series, 3 of them. Obviously, specialty teams versus 5-on-5. When you look at specialty teams this season in the playoffs, Colorado, the number 2 power play, 31.1% thus far in the playoffs. You take a penalty against Colorado, they're going to make you pay. Tampa, not that bad, but still number 8 at 22.6, a slight decline from their 23.9 during the regular season. Colorado's, as I mentioned, 31.1% in the playoffs. They were at 24% during the regular season. Penalty kill, Tampa with the number 5. So they've been very good at killing penalties, 82.5% penalty kill. Colorado, not so good. Number 10 in penalty kill thus far in the playoffs at 75.7%. But when we talk about 5-on-5, guys, and this is where Tampa wants to keep this game, is at 5-on-5, because they have been much better 5-on-5. And we talk about arcs crossing, Steve. Colorado scored 45 goals, allowed 29 5-on-5, plus 16, but their XG numbers are 35.25 to 25.62, plus 8.6. So they're overperforming their XG numbers, and that has a lot to do with the goalies that they faced. They're scoring goals that they normally wouldn't score in the playoffs this season. Tampa, the opposite of that, 28 goals scored, 24 allowed, only plus 4. But when you look at their XG numbers, 37.89 to 31.76, 6.13, they're underperforming to their XG, and that's facing good goalies. So now it is a drop off. They get to face the number 16 and 29 goalies thus far in the playoffs in Colorado, and either Francouz or Darcy Comfort, and it's just making life miserable for them. You're going to see Corey Perry in front of that goal, in this series, trying to make life as uncomfortable as possible for the Colorado goalies. He did that from game 3 on in the Rangers series, and he made life uncomfortable for them. So, and that's where we talk about the goaltending, which is the second key. The final one is coaching. The coaching is a big thing. John Cooper has been able to get this team to rebound off of losses. He's done it the last 3 seasons, only lost once off a loss. I think they're 18 or 19-1 during the last 3 seasons of the NHL playoffs off a loss. But with that said, in that Rangers series, he made some adjustments after game 2, and he put Cirelli on against the Zibanejad Kreider line, and they completely shut down the Rangers, took away the scoring, and then they won 4 straight in that series. He is going to match up Cirelli against McKinnon in this series. It'll be a lot tougher in Colorado because Colorado gets the last change, so that's where coaching comes in. But as far as coaches go, John Cooper is much better than Gerard Bednar. No disrespect to him. He's had a good playoff season, but the coaching edge and goaltending edge go to Tampa here. Obviously, the 5-on-5 edge goes to the Colorado Avalanche and that team that seemingly can score at will.
We've got just a minute left here with Carmine Bianco. Carm, you've broken down the series. You've given us things to look at for both teams. I don't want any of that. I want something actionable. Give me a future. Give me a prop bet. Give me something I can make. Give me a wager I can make right now. Series price, Colorado Avalanche -170, Tampa Bay Lightning +150. What's the value bet? What's the prop bet for me to make before this series starts?
I think this series is going to go 6 to 7 games. So with that in mind, if you go to a place like DraftKings, you can get Game 6 and Game 7 plus for the series to go that far, both at +210. So you can lock in both and pretty much, and if it goes 6 games, you're locking in a profit regardless. If you like the Colorado Avalanche to win this series, you can take an option of Colorado to win Game 1 and win the series. And instead of paying -170, you're getting +110 on your money. If you like Colorado, that's the way to go. Again, Teddy, it is to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. And the Tampa Bay Lightning are the champs right now. So we'll see if they can get it done. But at +150, the Lightning are awfully attractive to make it 3 straight cups.
That's Carmine Bianco, NHL expert, WagerTalk.com. He just gave you some insight into Game 1, the series for Stanley Cup, which starts tonight on Wednesday. But if you want to get all of his best bets, all of his props, each and every game, Carm, you got a great promo, $59 for the entire Stanley Cup right now at WagerTalk.com. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, every single play, including 5% plays. I've got a 5% play up as a series place, 4% play on tonight's game, along with 4 prop bets. So there's a bunch of plays. You can get them all for $59 and get every single play I release during the Stanley Cup Finals. And then one more quick one, guys. You saw the graphic up there. The rest of the year, an all-access package that's normally $1,498 for $699. We've got a ton of action coming up for the rest of the season, be it NFL football, be it NCAA college football, the FIFA World Cup in November, soccer, NHL, MLB, tennis. It's much like Johnny the Greek. I'm Carmine the Canadian Italian.
Yeah, and just like a lot of the cappers, you cover a lot of sports, and it's a great way to diversify. So I like the Canadian. The Italian Canadians are always good with me, and especially when they're covering multiple sports. So that's Carmine Bianco, NHL expert, but also soccer, tennis, other sports as well. WagerTalk.com. Check out those great promos. $59 for the entire Stanley Cup. Or if you're taking a serious long-term investment, lock into that substantial discount for all sports, all access. Carm, thank you. WagerTalk.com. Teddy, going to get NBA Finals Game 6 in a moment with Skee Profit. But first, a little big game breakdown, baseball style, right after the break. Back in 30 seconds.
Want a free PlayStation? Yes, free. Who would have thought in November 2020, when Sony released that PlayStation 5, that we'd be sitting here almost 20 months later with no consoles on shelves and very few available with online retailers? Well, we got our hands on a disc console, but instead of teaching Prez and Teddy how to play NBA 2K, we'd like to send it to a loyal WagerTalk supporter. You can start earning entries now and repeat daily just by going to wt.buzz/ps5 and perform the social media task below to earn entries into our raffle. The contest will end at midnight on July 3rd, and a random winner will be announced on July 4th. Help us reach 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and grow our social media footprint, and you could be the new owner of a PS5.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk some afternoon delight MLB and take a look at the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Cincinnati Reds. Looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen right now. Let's call Arizona minus 120. You can find cheaper than that for Arizona. You can lay more than that with Arizona. This is a line chopper's delight when it comes to the side in this ballgame. I'm going to talk about the total sitting at 7.5 to the under as we speak. So what do we have? What's the scenario here? Extra inning game last night, a game that was 0-0 after 9, by the way. But extra innings last night. It's getaway day today, so it's early start. There's a day off for both teams tomorrow. So forget anything else. Given that scenario, extra innings, getaway day, day off the next day, you're already thinking under. This is not a disciplined approach at the plate type of game. And certainly we would expect a little bit of a wider strike zone for the early start affair after the extra inning game the previous night. Then you look at the starting pitching matchup. This is one where I do want to list starters. Luis Castillo, last 3 road starts, 3 gems. Give up 1 earned run at St. Louis, 1 hit at Fenway, 2 runs at Toronto, 6+ innings each time. He's 5-1 of the under the last 6 starts. And again, those 3 dominant road starts in his last 3 outings on the highway all came against better lineups than one he'll face today. Zach Gallen, he's had 6 home starts. He's allowed 1 or less 4 times, 2 in the 5th start. He only got roughed up once. Last time out, he did get roughed up by the hottest team in baseball, the Phillies, one of the hottest teams in baseball. This is his get-right start back at home. The D-backs have been shut out at least once every series in June. The Phillies shut them out, the Reds, the Pirates, the Braves. They weren't shut out the previous series with the Dodgers, but they were held to 1 twice and 2 once. This lineup had, 5 hits last night? They're not hitting. The Reds have a little hidden home road dichotomy. The ball carries in Cincy. Outside of Cincy, road games, 8 of the last 15, 2 runs or less. Not counting last night where they got to 5 in extras. Yeah, we'll look at the under in early start action today. Under 7.5, Reds and the D-backs. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Merrill.
Love it, Teddy. A little afternoon baseball for the live viewers here on WagerTalk TV. And, of course, that goes at 3:40 Eastern. So if you're joining us the replay, you still have a little time this afternoon to get in on some daytime action. Lots of daytime action, by the way, on Wednesday. It's been every day this year so far. So check out WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com for both daytime and nighttime best bets in baseball. We talked a little hockey. That goes tonight. And now we're going to talk about the big NBA game, which goes tomorrow night on Thursday. By the way, NBA tip-off back on the air. Preview for Game 6 today at 4:15 Eastern. I'll be on with Tony Mejia, Andy Lang, and Joe Ranieri. 4:15 Eastern here, breaking down Game 6. Teddy will be on tomorrow night on Thursday, breaking it down once again before it starts. But in the meantime, let's bring on Skee Profit from WagerTalk.com. NBA expert, WNBA expert as well. Just let's say basketball expert. And Skee, welcome to the show. And might not get to talk to you again before Game 6 tips tomorrow. So I definitely want to get your thoughts on this and how you're approaching it. You know, Carm said he thought the NHL Stanley Cup would go either 6 or 7 games. I meant to mention it reminds me a lot of this Celtics-Warriors series. It appears to be a tight competitive series. And obviously the Golden State series has gone 6. Will it go 7, though, Skee, or do the Warriors finish them off tomorrow night?
I think the Warriors finish them off. And I haven't got to talk to Teddy about the NBA Finals too much. I've been wanting to talk to you, Teddy, so I'm happy to be here. But I think, a lot of people, and I understand, they're going to bet the Celtics off for a loss. But I've watched these games, every single game. I've watched them 3 times. And a couple games that the Warriors have lost, it was mostly because of effort. In that first game, they were winning throughout. And in the last 5 minutes, everybody's standing around. Nobody's rotating. It's clearly just effort. The third Game 3, I won't even discuss. I'll just give that to the Celtics. But as the series has gone on, I hear Steve Kerr talking. He says, in order to win a finals game, you have to play defense. And on that side of the floor, and on the offensive side of the floor. I feel like the Warriors have figured Boston out. They figured out a way to stay in there kind of like a defensive shell, because all the Celtics do is play iso ball, and that's easy to defend. You're not running anybody through multiple actions. And on the other side, Golden State is running their entire team across the floor. So when you have guys like Robert Williams who are banged up, he's not going to be able to, switch on everything. Horford, I don't think he can switch on everything and guard everybody. It's just different. Golden State, the way they play positionless basketball, they can. They have defenders like Wiggins. Clay has been great. Even Steph has been great for as much slack as people give him on the defensive end. So I think the Warriors' defense has looked a lot better than Boston, and that's just because how powerful the Warriors' offense is, and they haven't even played to their potential. When you have so many guys on the court, and it starts with Steph, because every single game, it's just how are the Celtics going to defend Steph? First, they try drop coverage, and what does that lead to? A barrage of threes. He has, 6 threes in the first quarter. Every game, they're letting Steph get his, and they figured out they can't do that anymore. They try to face guard him. And what does that do? It opens up the floor for everybody else. You have a lot more space for back cuts, which you see Otto Porter, Draymond Green doing. You have a lot more space for Wiggins to operate. You see him taking advantage, and you have space for Klay Thompson as well. So that's not working. And if you trap Steph, all he's going to do is dump it off to Draymond. And at that point, your defense is at a disadvantage. You're playing 4-on-3. And Draymond, 10 times out of 10, in my mind, he's going to make the right play. So I just don't see any adjustment. I haven't seen any adjustment, and that's why I've been on the Warriors pretty much the past few games that Boston can make. The Warriors are really confident. I don't see them coming out without, that effort that I was talking about. They're hungry. They want this ring for Steph. You hear Clay talking about he's never been more excited to go back to Boston. Game 6, as long as Steph, Clay, and Draymond have been on the floor, Warriors are 4-0. They win by an average of 16.8 points per game. Warriors will come to play in that game. It will not be easy to put away the Celtics, but the Warriors will get the job done, and you don't need any points.
So as we've talked about in the finals repeatedly, the points aren't the issue. If you're going to take an underdog, the long-term trend has been take the underdog on the money line. It's been much more profitable than taking the underdog plus the points. And yet, I got to ask you, Golden State is coming off a game in which all their role players played really well. Even Looney played well, in terms of the offensive glass and a couple of assists. Peyton played really well. Poole played really well. Obviously, Wiggins was the player of the game in game number 5, whereas Boston's role players were non-existent. There was nothing coming off the bench for the Celtics in that contest. And as we know, in the finals, in the postseason, it doesn't go like that every game. Sometimes the role players step up from one team. Sometimes they step up for the other team. Do you think the Celtics are just gassed now, and they're, or do you think Boston's role players have a better game in them, and or Golden State's role players have a weaker game in them? Or is it not going to matter because Curry's going to hit 9 3-pointers in the first quarter and it's all going to be over? Because Curry off an 0-for game from beyond the arc is kind of a dangerous thing in my mind to bet against. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I'll start with that, and I'll just say, we've seen Steph Curry hit 0 3-pointers a couple times. In the next game, it was pretty scary. So I'll be worried, if I was a Boston backer for that. As far as the role players, absolutely. Role players play better at home. So I expect a lot of those guys on the Boston side to be better tonight. And I do still trust the Warriors guys. We have Game 6 Clay, right? He averages 28 points in Game 6. He has that name for a reason. So these guys have been here, majority of them. I think they can take it on the road and bring it too. But to your point, yes, I expect Boston's role players to play better. And the last question, I think I maybe forgot. But I want to say on that money line point, at plus 150, which is what I got, implied probability is 40%. And I just feel like Warriors, they shouldn't even be an underdog in this game. I feel like they win more than 50% of the time. So at plus money, I think it's a really good bet.
Yeah, there was a advanced look-ahead line at one of the leading indicator offshores before Game 5 for both Game 6 and 7. And it was Golden State, obviously, around 3.5 in Game 5 at the time. But the look-ahead was 2.5 for Game 6, assuming the Celtics were going to lose. And now it's 4. So it's actually been bumped higher because they lost in Game 5 the other night. It was going to be 2.5. Now it's 4. Look ahead for Game 7 was going to be -3. We'll see where that settles if Boston extends this series. And by the way, Teddy, as you mentioned, the money line's been Money in the Bank. The last 50 NBA Finals, all 5 here, it hasn't mattered. It's the team that wins is now 46-2-2 the last 50 against the spread. So basically, it hasn't mattered. Only 2 times has it lost, and only 2 other times have you gotten a push. So, yeah, once again, if you like the Warriors, you probably want to consider money line at least half a unit for each, or the full unit once again on the money line instead of just the +4. Skee, you'll be on tomorrow with Teddy and Rob Vino, so you'll get to talk more NBA Finals with Teddy covers tomorrow and Thursday. I'll be back this afternoon on Wednesday once again with Tony Mahia and Andy Lang. 4:15 Eastern NBA tip-off for Game 6, both Wednesday and Thursday. In-depth analysis. Before we let you go, though, you're also a WNBA expert at WagerTalk.com. Got an early game of tips in about a half hour. If you want to quickly give a free play for the live viewers between your Las Vegas Aces, the number 1 team in the WNBA in Dallas, but also want to focus on the second best team in the league right now. That's tonight at 7 Eastern. Connecticut, 10-point home favorite against Atlanta. How are you looking at that game?
In that game, I have to look at the Connecticut Sun. It's just long term. They've been so good off of a loss. All time, as far as the database goes, they're 95-76, 55.6% winners against the spread. If you want to look at since about 2020, I have them at 17-5, and so far this year they're 3-0 straight up and against the spread, winning by an average of 18.3 points per game. And in the first half, they're up by an average of 13 points per game so far. So I like them. They're clearly the superior team. Atlanta is missing Erica Wheeler. I believe she's been out for a little bit with a foot sprain, and I don't think she'll be back for this game. So when she's out, it's really just Ryan Howard, like, who's going to be scoring. And we've seen teams who are good defensively, like the Washington Mystics, key in on her. And if you take her out of the game, it's going to get ugly for Atlanta because she's really, honestly, the only reason why this team is having success. Clearly Rookie of the Year for Howard. So she's 6'2". She's a matchup problem for most teams, but this Connecticut team is big. And I mean, they have a lot of people you can throw at her, but I just feel like maybe even DeWanna Bonner, just being 6'4", a couple inches taller, she's not going to have those easy shots. So I like Connecticut to bounce back here first half and full game.
Skee Profit, a guy whose on-air presence gets better and better every day, my friend. Love having you on. I look forward to talking NBA with you tomorrow. Why don't you tell us what you have going at WagerTalk.com for today?
Of course. And appreciate you, Teddy. Wager Talk, so far this week, I'm 6-2, so I'm trying to keep that going. I've made 5 plays in the WNBA. I have a play up for NBA. The packages aren't up. They've been sent to subscribers. I will add them as a package shortly. And really quick, Teddy, to answer your question, I remembered your question. Yes, I think the Celtics are gas. Since I've been alive, there's never been a team to play back-to-back 7-game series and win the NBA championship. I don't think we'll see it this year.
Interesting stat there. And we will find out tomorrow night on Thursday if we get a Game 7 on Sunday night. And once again, Skee, you'll be back with Teddy tomorrow on Thursday. NBA tip-off both Wednesday and Thursday, 4:15 Eastern here on Wager Talk TV and archive 24/7. Look, Teddy, we covered the Stanley Cup, which starts tonight, some baseball for this afternoon, NBA playoffs tomorrow. There's also another huge sporting event, one of the big 4 going tomorrow morning on Thursday, and that's the golf U.S. Open. And we're going to bring on Nick Borman, golf expert, WagerTalk.com. And Nick, I don't get to talk to you much, so it's great to have you on the show. And we'll get right into it. I mean, what are you looking at here in the U.S. Open? Have you see any value for the viewers out there?
Hello, Steve and Teddy. Yeah, thanks for having me on. U.S. Open, 3rd major of the year. Always exciting to get to break that down. Listen, when it comes to golf betting, everybody wants to try to find the outright winner, right? That's always the fun. And I won't fault anybody for looking at Rory McIlroy or Justin Thomas, so the 2 hottest players on the planet right now. But they're 10-1 on the outright market. So, I'm not going to give that out. It's easy to pick those 2. And again, I could argue for them both no matter what. But from a value standpoint, I'm going to look a little further down the list at 30-1, Will Zalatoris. It's only a matter of time for this kid to get his first PGA Tour win. So doesn't even have a win yet. But I think it might come this week with a major. He finished tied for 6th at the Masters. That was 1 year after breaking onto the scene in 2021 with a runner-up at the Masters. And then in the last major at the PGA Championship, he lost in the playoff to Justin Thomas. He seems to play his best at the toughest tracks during these majors. Overall, in his last 7 starts on tour, he's finished in the top 6 in 5 of 7 starts. So he is right there. If you follow golf, everyone knows that his one fallback is that he struggles on the putting green. But with very small greens this week and not a lot of knowledge, because this isn't, of course, the guys play a lot, it kind of levels the playing field with his putting. But he's deadly accurate tee to green. He's number 1 strokes gained approach. That's iron play on the season, and number 6 in greens in regulation. So he's likely going to have more chances to do some work with his putter and make birdie than most will. And he also fits the bill this week as a guy that can hammer off the tee, as he ranks 15th in driving distance. And if you watch the golf show we do with Andy Lang, I mentioned how actually the U.S. Open has transitioned into power being and strength being important metric, as it used to just be accuracy, but now it's starting to move into strength. So Will Zalatoris, 30-1, I think is good value this week as an outright play.
Nick Borman talking U.S. Open. Anything you want to get for U.S. Open, you better get today, because by the time you wake up tomorrow, it'll be too late. You can use promo code US Open 20 to save $20 off a golf pack, which includes a 5% play from Nick Borman, a guy who has 4 outright winners already in 2022. Oh, by the way, including both majors. Clearly, he's a guy who knows what he's talking about. You talked about who you like to win outright, or a 30-1 shot to win outright. What about like top 10 or top 20 type bets this week? Who stands out to you when it comes to someone who's going to be on the leaderboard, but maybe you don't want to bet him to win outright?
Yeah, so the leaderboard bets are a fun way to get action on guys that you think will have a good week, not necessarily win. I usually, just for some knowledge, I usually take my outrights and I break them up to do outright, and then usually back that up with the top 10 or top 20. But one that I'm looking at specifically just for a leaderboard bet this week is Matthew Fitzpatrick. I've been on him several weeks this year already because he is always in contention. Right now he's top 20, around plus 130. I fully expect him to be in contention this week when he plays his best when the winning score is closer to par, which obviously at the U.S. Open we expect that to be the case. He's another guy that's still officially yet to win on the PGA Tour, but he does have 7 international wins. And he did win at this course, believe it or not. The last major event that was played here was in 2013, the U.S. Amateur. He won it. And that list of players that played in that event is literally the who's who of golf right now. World number 1 Scotty Scheffler, PGA champion Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, Will Zalatoris, who I just mentioned, all in that field among a slew of others. So pretty impressive that he pulled away as the winner. Fitzy, he ranks top 25 in strokes gained, in all strokes gained categories, which gives him the second best total strokes gained average on tour this season, behind only Rory McIlroy. He ranks 4th in scrambling, which at a U.S. Open is always going to be important because guys will miss and you got to be able to get up and down. He's got the 4th best scoring average on tour. So he does have 3 missed cuts in his last 13 tour starts in 2022, but in all 10 events that he did make the cut, he finished inside the top 20. So as long as we see him on the weekend, I expect him right up there near the top of the leaderboard, and I think he's going to have a good week. So plus money on a top 20 for Matthew Fitzpatrick is definitely a play worth looking at.
I like it, Nick. And to say it's a star-studded field would be an understatement. I think 29 of the top 30 ranked golfers in the world are in the field this weekend, or this week's Thursday. So obviously a lot of talent. And you mentioned you and Andy Lang do a golf show. You know, Andy and I have done NASCAR shows over the years. And, of course, it's so similar to NASCAR. You can take several guys at nice plus money prices, top 5s, top 10s as well. But I know one bread and butter for a lot of NASCAR bettors, including Andy, is the head-to-head matchups. And I'm sure in golf it's the same. You know, got 100+ golfers, right? Instead of trying to figure out who's going to be that gem in the rough there, you know, you can a play on, maybe a play against situation, find a nice matchup. Anything you're looking at as far as head-to-head matchups for this Open?
Sure. And you're right. It is very, very similar to NASCAR betting on a weekly basis. Teddy, every time I come on the show, always, brings up that the matchups is, that's the bread and butter of golf betting. And if you're going to be doing it long term and for a while, this is where you're gonna make the most profit. You're gonna brag about the outright winners that you hit every now and then. Might be every other month before you catch one, but these are the ones that are going to get you through week to week to week. So the one I'm looking at this week is Davis Riley, who, if you aren't a guy that's watching golf, you probably don't know that name. Davis Riley over Taylor Gooch. Davis Riley's a rookie on tour this year, but he's definitely a name that you're going to get used to as the years go on. In his last 6 starts, his worst finish is a tie for 13th with 4 top 10s. He didn't have enough world ranking points because, again, he's a rookie to qualify for the Masters this year, but he did play in the last major at the PGA, where he did finish tied for 13th as well. Taylor Gooch, the reason I'm looking against him this week is he is one of those defectors that has gone over to the LIV Golf Tour, the rebel Saudi-backed money-flowing golf tour that's getting all the craze. And honestly, it's drawing too much attention away from just the U.S. Open, how awesome this week normally is. But I have to think guys that played in that event last week and have made that jump are facing a ton of distractions this week. Not only did he have that going on, he also has to travel from London with that tournament ending on Sunday. So he has one less kind of day of preparation than most of the other guys here as well. But it's a lot going on. It's a lot of distraction. He can't prep like he normally would. He was playing well before making the jump on the tour, but I think there's just too much going on in the head, and golf is just it's a head game. So plus 115 on Davis Riley, who has been doing nothing but lighting up leaderboards. I think it's a pretty good price to get in that matchup play.
Nick Borman, great analysis. Talk about what you have going this weekend and the packages you have available for your clients.
Sure. Thanks. You mentioned one. I have the U.S. Open pack up right now. You can grab it for another 18 hours or so before it tees off on Thursday morning. Promo code US Open 20 saves $20 off. Normally priced at $39. You grab that just $19, and that does include a 5% play, which is only my fourth of the entire golf season in 2022 so far. So those are rare. So that is there. And I also have a soccer pack up going for Wednesday night over at WagerTalk.com as well. 3 plays. So that kicks off at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Nick Borman, WagerTalk.com. And once again, another great way to diversify. He does golf. He does soccer, as he mentioned. And I know we all treat this as a form of investment, but if it is recreational, it's also a great form of entertainment. You're getting 4 days of value with the U.S. Open, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So another reason to maybe jump on board and save $20 with U.S. Open 20 on any golf package with that 5% play included right now. Nick Borman, WagerTalk.com. Teddy, enjoyed the last couple days, Tuesday and Wednesday. The Prez is scheduled to be back tomorrow on Thursday. It's a money line favorite right now, but I'll be in the wings waiting. I know it. You can call some of your sources maybe, and I'll extend the visit here because I'll be available tomorrow if needed. But if not, we will catch up soon in the near future. Once again, I'll be on NBA Tip-Off today at 4:15 Eastern with Joe Ranieri, Andy Lang, Tony Mejia. Teddy will be back tomorrow at 4:15 Eastern with Skee and Rob on the same show. Game 6 previews in depth. MLB first pitch, as always, 1:45 Eastern today. Adam Trigger, Ariel Epstein. I'll be on tomorrow with Dave Koken at 1:45 Eastern with Drew Martin first pitch. And don't forget, you can watch all of these, as Teddy knows, on replay whenever you'd like, 24/7 right here on Wager Talk TV. Teddy, you thank the guests for me and take us home, my man.
Sure, that's going to wrap it for the Wednesday edition. We've got to thank Carmine Bianco, Skee Profit, and Nick Borman for joining us today. I want to thank you out there in Viewerland for spending time out of your busy day with us. We appreciate it. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
Who's thinking about buying football in June? Well, with the super early bird football promotion at WagerTalk and Sports Memo, we have a few reasons why. Early bird pricing for NFL and college football combo is $8.99, but using coupon code FOOTBALL100, you can take $100 off, dropping the price to $7.99. If you purchase by June 30th and use coupon code FOOTBALL100 to get your $100 discount, we'll also toss in an additional bonus. On July 4th, we'll take the highest scoring MLB game of the day and give you $10 for every run scored. Yes, so if July 4th, the highest scoring game is 10-9, you will get $190 in wager bucks to use how you choose. This super early bird $100 discount using Football 100 and wager bucks bonus expires on June 30th with no exceptions. So if you plan to bet football this year, this is the lowest price we will offer. So act fast and lock in your favorite football handicappers in both NFL and college football through the national championships and Super Bowl.